Next. So thank you, Charlie, for your talk. I would like to remind everybody of the Kangan. The whole universe is on fire. Through what kind of samadhi can you escape being burned? So we should never lose sight of that Kangan. Are there any questions? Yes?
Now, when we were chanting, I noticed that some of the chants are in Korean with translations, some of them are in Korean without translations, and some of them are in English.
Okay, so our chants come in 3 flavors. One of them, they come in English. One of them, they come in, it's actually Korean transliteration of Chinese, which is known as Sino-Korean, Korean pronunciation of Chinese, so it's known as Sino-Korean. It's actually written in Chinese characters originally, and then it gets put into Korean transliteration. And then some of those come with translation, and some of those do not. So the ones that are translated mean something in a sort of conventional lexicographical sense, where you look up words in a dictionary and you know the grammar of the language, you put it together, and then you can understand it. But the ones that are not translated are mantras. And mantras have no lexicographical meaning. So we can talk for many years about what kind of meaning mantras have. Are they magic spells? Are they somehow efficacious? Are they sound that reflects inward? Are there sound that goes outward? You could have any kind of opinion about a mantra that you want. But basically the syllables have no lexicographical meaning. Sometimes they do, like gate, gate, parasam gate. That's sort of a mantra, but it also means gone, gone, gone beyond, gone far beyond, away, okay? But yeah, so the last chant, you're talking about the great Dharani, which actually, we have a guest here who's a student of a good friend of mine, Leslie, and they also chant the Great Dharani, but it sounds very different because it's translated into Japanese. And then there's also Great Dharani in Tibetan, translated into Tibetan, and probably into Vietnamese. All the Mahayana chant the Great Dharani. And the Great Dharani, all we can really say about it is that it's focused on Avalokiteshvara. Same Bodhisattva the Heart Sutra is focused on. And of course we do the Heart Sutra twice, once in Sino-Korean, one in Korean. So this Bodhisattva must be very important. So this is the Bodhisattva of compassion. Avalokiteshvara, right over there. In Chinese, Kuan Yin. In Korean, Kwanseum. In Japanese, Kannon or Kanseon. This is a very important bodhisattva. This bodhisattva, in some depictions, has 1,000 hands, and in each of those hands there's an eye. So this bodhisattva sees, this bodhisattva heals, and the name of the bodhisattva, Kwanseum, perceive world sound. Though this bodhisattva perceives the sound of the world. And I started off by saying the whole universe is on fire. This bodhisattva sees the fire. This bodhisattva hears the crackling of the flames. And the purpose of this bodhisattva is to help. Now, is this bodhisattva outside your mind? Or is this bodhisattva actually you? You know? So when we chant, we chanted in the beginning of practice, we chanted Kwanseum Bosal. That's to this bodhisattva. Bosal means bodhisattva. For people who are going through difficulty. I read a list of names and some people added some names. Then we chanted Jijang Bosal. This is the bodhisattva of transitions, in particular the bodhisattva you chant to when people die. Ksitigarbha is the Sanskrit, and Jizo is the Japanese. So we chanted to both of them. So what were we doing when we were chanting? This is a very good question, But this bodhisattva, Kuan Yin, very important bodhisattva. become this bodhisattva, completely become. We have this word, this Sanskrit word namu, that appears in a lot of our chants. And this namu means homage to, but you can also think of it as not homage to you over there, but you can also think of it as becoming one, entering into this bodhisattva. This bodhisattva enters into you. This bodhisattva is not different from you. You are Avalokiteshvara. You might not know it. And you are also Ksitagarbha, Samantabhadra, the bodhisattva of action, Manjushri, the bodhisattva of wisdom. We chant to all of them in the first chant that we do. You are all those bodhisattvas, all the 10,000, 100,000 bodhisattvas that appear in the sutras. They have these wonderful names like Bodhisattva of the 10,000 pavilions and Bodhisattva of this and that. All of those bodhisattvas, not different from you. So that's very interesting. So thank you for your question. Are there any other questions? Yes.
I have a question. Isn't there also a Great Dharani Sutra?
Yes, there
It
is.
seems something that's translated, so that's not the same thing as...
That's not the chant. That's the Great Dharani Sutra. Okay? So sutra is like scripture. It literally means thread, but sutra is the Buddhist version of scripture. So you have all these sutras, which are usually, not always, well, actually, they're supposedly the words of the Buddha. Actually, not that often. Usually it's other people who speak. Like the Diamond Sutra is a dialogue between Buddha and Subhuti, and then the sutra, the Lion's Roar of Queen Shrimala Sutra, she's basically expounding. What is she's expounding? She's expounding Buddha nature, I believe. Oh no, I think she's expounding desire for Buddha nature. Excuse me, senior moment. She's expounding, and every now and then Buddha says, yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Then she expounds some more. He says, yes, that's right. And the Avatamsaka Sutra, everybody talks except Vairocana Buddha, who's the great Buddha. That's the Buddha who is infinite in time and space. That's the Buddha who is completely integrated into every single moment of time and space. And the morning bell chant, there's this great phrase, Vairocana has no fixed place. So instead of having this static sort of substance that's just kind of sitting there, and every molecule is just no fixed place. It's very dynamic. So, he never speaks. Shakyamuni Buddha actually speaks for 2 chapters. And I could go on and on. So most of these sutras, the Lavatankara Sutra, the Buddha is basically following a sort of course outline that someone else made for him. So they're not really just the speech of the Buddha. We are all empowered. We all have this Buddha nature. The words of the Dharma can come from us if our minds are open. So it's very interesting. You are not separate. It's very interesting in Buddhism. Not Buddha over here and us over here. Not bodhisattvas over here and us over here. We are not separate. So, okay? Thank you. Yes?
During the Nagarjuna talk, you talked about the middle way, which I really don't understand at all.
Okay. So the middle way does not mean not too hot and not too cold. So first I explain why am I bothering to talk about the middle way. So Zen is part of the Mahayana, and the 2 great streams of the Mahayana are Madhyamika, which is the middle way, and Yogacara, which is mind alone. That's the sort of thing. Although they cross over a lot. So those two schools go into Zen teaching. They enter into Zen teaching. And so it's important to know about them. And, you know, a lot of people think that Zen is just being in the moment, but nobody knows what being in the moment means. They have an idea of what it is, right? You're like, you know, oh, it's so Zen. I'm in the moment, you know, that's not what it is. So we need something from outside us to cut through our habitual ways of being. We need something to cut through that. And Sangha is one way to cut through it. And another way to cut through it is teaching and learning. And the sutras and the commentaries on the sutras, all this is a way to help pull us away from our egocentric notions, where we think we have the answers. It's a way to pull us out of that. So, with that introduction, so the Madhyamika is this important notion of the middle way, and people hear that and then they think the middle way, not too hot, not too cold, Goldilocks, right? Not too dark, not too light, Goldilocks. But that's not what the middle way is. So when we think, we are thinking about things, right? And we may think about something very material, like this water bottle, or we might think about something abstract, like truth, or the number 3. Those are both very abstract. And we imbue them with a notion of some kind of existence, an existence that's not provisional and it's not contingent, but it's like an absolute kind of existence. And we think of the world as marbles kind of on a billiard table, sort of, you know, crashing into each other and bouncing off each other and then crashing on the edge of the table and sort of like that. And we think of ourselves in that way. There's some essence of Judy that, you know, is always there and nothing can touch it. And Judy has to hold on to this essence of Judy, and she has to protect this essence of Judy. And so if you are going too slow in traffic, Judy will be very upset because her essence of Judy is not being allowed to go as fast as essence of Judy wants to go. And we live our life like that. We live our life trying to protect ourselves and trying to, you know, get what we want and push away what we don't want. That's the Buddha's first teaching, right? That's where suffering comes from. So how do you cut through that? How do you not essentialize everything in this world? How do you recognize what this world actually is? So the method of the middle way is that is false and is not is false. What? So if you say, and we do this in Zen all the time, if you say this is a water bottle, you're not correct. If you say this is not a water bottle, you're not correct. That's the middle way. You don't say this is a water bottle. You don't say, it's not a water bottle. It's actually, you know, some kind of, you know, sort of energy patterns and, you know, whatever, you know, the quantum world and, you know, whatever, you know. Right? Those who know, okay? So I just answered the question, is this a water bottle or is this not a water bottle? I just answered that question, right? What did I do? I drank from it. Hello. You know, so I remember when I first met my teacher, Zen Master Sung-san, and his English was terrible. It's not that he had an accent, which he did, it's that his English was really terrible. And he didn't know many words, and that's why he came out with wonderful things like don't know mind, because he didn't know how to say it in a fancy way. You know, his teaching in Korean isn't nearly as good as teaching in English, because he knew Korean really well, but he didn't know English that well, so he has this real punchy directness in it. And I remember, you know, he's sitting there and he has this cup of water, and he's saying, is this a glass of water or is this not a glass of water? And, you know, he drinks, and I'm thinking, he didn't answer the question. And he did all these things like that, and he didn't answer the question. No. was answering the questions very clearly, but I was too stupid to see it, you know. Now none of you are stupid, okay? So yeah, so that is the middle way. The middle way is we don't cling to an idea of what things are, and we don't cling to an idea of what things are not. That's don't know mind, just completely open. And it's not that, I mean, I can drink from this water bottle. There's not much left, but I just was able to get some, you know. So there's these two truths, the absolute and the relative, or the provisional and the, I forget what is it that Garfield calls it, but provisional and the, something else. But it's like, you know, absolute and the relative, or how it's usually possessed, they're not distinct. So we're looking for this absolute substance. We're looking for this absolute substance of Judy. What is Judy? You know, we're going there. What, you know, many of us have a practice of it. What am I? Some of us is what am I don't know. Some of us just what am I? Many of us have this practice. Not everyone. There are lots of practices. But if that's your practice, what am I? You're not looking for that little marble and trying to figure out what it is. This question opens you up to the universe. So the middle way opens you up beyond speech, before thinking. That mind, wow, that's the middle way. Okay? Thank you. Okay, and it's time to stop.